Yep. So if you want to be consistent with something or a new habit, I think a lot of people know the best way to do it is to do it as many days as possible as you can, maybe in a streak. But you may be thinking, okay, well, I want to do that for my workouts, but I don't know, working out seems something that could destroy me if I do it every day. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that intense. Sorry for the voice crack. And you can tailor it to where you can be consistent and actually train every day. I know it's possible. So, you probably have a similar background to me, and that is, as a kid, we all grow up. We don't have a problem with physical activity. We like doing it. We had recess. We had playing outside with your friends. As I grew up, there was like football. There was working out for football. There was a weightlifting team. So I really didn't have a problem working out every day, and maybe that's part of it has to do with reading Muscle and Fitness magazines and wanting to look like that as a kid. Then later on, I got more into weightlifting, Olympic lifting. As I was doing that, though, I was in college. So there was still a lot of physical activity outside of that, right? I had to walk to classes. We played intramural sports. I even would just play pickup basketball with my friends, or just do, after my main training, I would still do like kind of bodybuilding-ish stuff. And then after college, I got into just weightlifting, and my only other activity was sitting. Honestly, coming home, sitting, eating chicken, and playing Dota 2 all day. So what's funny is I think my training was probably a little bit more intense, but I was also sitting more, and I kind of blew up. Not my lifts, my actual weight. Anyway, I don't know if about you, but I think people, as they get older, as kids, we kind of generalize everything, but then we get older, we think, oh, I need to pick this lane of training, right? Like I need to go into CrossFit, or I need to do bodybuilding, or I need to do powerlifting. I don't know about that. And even if you are specializing, are you not allowed to go on a walk, or walk your dog, or play with your kids, or get on the ground and play with your kids? So working out, whatever you think it is, doesn't have to be this 5 to 6 day a week, highly intense type of training. And it doesn't have to be to failure. Let me give an example. Or actually not example, more reasons. So when I say workout, what do you think when I say workout? Huh? You tell me. But a workout can be considered what you do today, right? Like there's all this terminology. And exercise is a movement, or exercising is the workout. Workout is for today. Training is for the future. When people think of the actual workout, they probably, like let's say you just want to look good. You're probably thinking, okay, it has to be this, what I see bodybuilders do. Pick a body part for the day. Do a ton of exercises, ton of reps, ton of sets, blow it out of the water to failure. Now that is a recipe, if you do that every day, for burnout. And there's actually a reason why bodybuilder training like that is done in body part splits, because you're doing it so much on one, like chest, so much on chest that you don't want to see it for another 5 or 7 days. You don't have to do that, okay? Nor do you have to do the high intensity CrossFit type training every day. All right, you don't have to do that, nor do you have to do steady state cardio every day. If you want to do all that stuff, go for it. But I'm talking about the people that are kind of, you're either starting out and you don't want to destroy yourself, or you're in it and you're like, is this all there is? This is kind of miserable. Do I want to put myself through this? You don't have to, all right? There are 2 things that can remedy this whole, how can I get up, get out, get moving fairly often without burning out? So the 2 things are, you need to train, all right? Strength training is up there. It doesn't matter what your goals are really as a human being physically, because more strength can help, okay? Even, guys that are wanting to jump higher, they're probably going to throw in squats and power cleans in there, okay? If you want to look better, you're like, oh, I want better looking shoulders and upper chest. How do you think you're going to get that? You need to lift more overhead, probably lift on the incline, want bigger arms, pull-ups, stuff like that. So strength training, again, training is doing a little bit today for a result tomorrow. And you combine that with just movement, all right? I didn't say another workout, all right? It could just be, I'm going to have a list of things to do that keeps me mobile. Everything after that is a bonus, all right? If you want to do high intensity training, you can do it. But I would argue that, let's say you have 3 HIIT workouts a week. They could be honestly 10 minutes, right? Like you could do 10 minutes of swings, kettlebell swings. You could do 10 minutes of burpees 3 days a week. What are you going to do the rest of the time? Okay. There's this quote from, I think it's Pavel Statslin's wife. I don't know. But there's a quote out there. It's like, if your training, as valiant as it could be, is 3 days a week for 2 hours, what is that, 6 hours? And I think a week has, math, 168 hours. You can fact check me on that. But which one is your body gonna, I know you have to sleep, but then it's like, if you just sit around all day for the other hours, which has more impact? Okay. That's like me when I was squatting often, as squatting as the workout. A coach at the gym was like, yeah, but you should be able to hold a bodyweight squat. And I got down and I could barely do it. I'm like, like there should be some in between. And yes, something like walking is easy, and I think it still counts. And I only say that because I think I read someone saying, oh, walking is such a low barrier. It's not exercise. It shouldn't be considered exercise. I'm like, and why not? Like, what about the whole 10,000 steps a day? That takes effort. But especially if someone that just like hard training, and I need something extra to kind of burn some fat, or someone getting into it, like why would you tell that person what they're doing doesn't count? Okay. Anyway, enough of that rant. So how do you actually put this together? Easy. You strength train and you move. Move more often. Strength training should be at the base of what you're doing. Okay. Find I don't care if it's, I guess there's only 2, body weight or barbell type thing, or a hybrid. Find any program, stand up for 3 to 6 months, a year. If you have the patience, if you get bored or you get better, you got to switch things up. Okay. That's basically the strength training 101. You do that for 3 to 5 days a week. I would say most people are good enough with 3, right? That's set in stone. After that, you move more, okay? You go on walks, you get your 10,000 steps, you stretch to be able to be ready for the next training. Use, isolation movements as needed, or anything cosmetic that you want to do. You can do that as much as you want, okay? Like sit in front of the TV and do yoga. You can't do that too much, okay? And honestly, if you did that, you'll be pretty mobile within a week. Now, this is an article that I wrote, but when I originally wrote this, I kind of was thinking, okay, what about certain populations? And I split it up into athletes, and I think I wrote CrossFitters, only because CrossFitters actually use the barbell in competitions. You can lump both of those into an athlete. But I was thinking, okay, well, would you tell that population, on top of the hard training they're already doing, to do more? And at first I was thinking, well, maybe not. But now I realize it's like, well, why not? Okay. Let's say you're you're a CrossFit athlete. You have to train 6 days a week. Now you're probably doing 7, goodness. But moderately, you're at 5 days a week, okay? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You don't want to be getting stiff and doing nothing during your off days, okay? I'm talking to everybody. Because your body thrives on movement. There's a reason why you feel good, right? Like let's say you had a gloomy, rainy day, and you sat inside and binge watched Lord of the Rings. If you do that, you are my friend. Let's say you do that, or you go on a airplane trip, right? A long airplane ride, and you sit still for the majority of the time. How do you feel when you're done, right? You may have finished your movie binge, but physically, if it's rainy outside, you don't go outside, you're in the darkness and you're sitting still, how does that feel at the end of the day? Do you feel, first of all, do you feel accomplished? Probably not. Maybe if that's your goal of watching movies, but physically you just don't feel good. But your body, when you put some movement into it, get some outdoor time, it gives you energy back. Okay? So why wouldn't you try to maximize that feeling constantly? All right. I think in like old 80s Russian weightlifting, you would go sit in the sun. Even if you're sitting still, you're sitting out getting sunlight to move. So you just like rejuvenate your body. Your lymphatic system, I think, only gets flushed out when you move it. Okay. So that is it. So this is actually for everybody. Okay. You put your strength training in, and then you just make sure you're not sitting around the house all day, every day. So yes, you can work out every day. Get your fitness tracker or whatever and set it for your flexibility and daily walking. Okay. Those are two things that'll help you a lot. I say all that because if you are in the game for a while and you want to get some life back into, especially, I hate to say it, older populations, you are probably in a situation where you have a tendency to be sedentary, and you have been for twice as long as the young kids influencers are. Like maybe you're in your 40s or 50s. You don't have the time to sit around because your body needs to get back up to speed. Okay. Or people just starting out, you're intimidated, start easy. So you do this and you start easy. So that's it. That's it, y'all. You can train every day. If you have any questions, as always, leave comments. There's a newsletter in the description. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. Now go work out. Bye.